The emperor of Rome, Marcus Aurelius, sat down to write in the year 170 at night in his tent on the front lines of the war in Germany. It may have been before dawn at his palace in the capital, or it may have been during the games while he took a few moments to himself while ignoring the destruction on the ground of the Colosseum below. But where it was, exactly is not important. The important thing is that this particular individual, who is now known as the last of the five good people, have often questioned how Marcus Aurelius came to be Marcus Aurelius. How did he avoid being corrupted by power and broken by stress? Not to an audience or for publication, but to himself. He would have mentioned one specific thing as making journaling his most significant daily exercise. Epictetus, his favorite philosopher, said that people work on their bodies but not on their souls, which is why he advised us to maintain our philosophical performs and aphorisms close at hand every day, and to write down, read aloud, and converse with others, as well as ourselves regarding them. Marcus Aurelius kept a journal as well because he was engaged in what academics now refer to as spiritual warfare. He was writing to strengthen his inner castle so that destiny, chaos, hysteria, vice, and other outside influences and forces would never be able to penetrate it and destroy it. So, if you're going to live a decent life, you must develop your spirit and create that inner castle. Journaling is one of the most tried and true and scientifically supported ways to do this. Here are 4 Stoic tips for journaling like a pro. 1. Prepare in the morning. Marcus Aurelius admittedly found it difficult to get out of bed in the early hours of the morning, but it appears that he did the majority of his journaling first thing in the morning. Remind yourself when you get up that the people you will interact with today are disrupting, unmerciful, arrogant, dishonest, dissatisfied, and unpleasant, because they possess the ability to differentiate between good and bad, the author stated. We can picture Marcus writing in his journal about all the things he would probably encounter that day, how he wanted to prepare for them, and how he wanted to react to them. He claimed that a healthy mind should be ready for everything, and that we should be like wrestlers who are ready for sudden attacks by being positioned and dug in. Like Marcus, you should think through your daily actions in advance, plan them, and practice them. This is something you should do in your journal as you prepare your best responses to potential situations, to yourself only. Why, even on the days he struggled under the weight of his military responsibilities, would Marcus Aurelius choose to ride by lamplight during those precious hours in his tent? He wasn't expressing himself for our advantage. In reality, what is currently published as Meditations was initially titled to himself. He wasn't writing for an audience. I don't journal to be successful. I don't do it to come up with brilliant ideas for writing that I can later publish. These pages aren't intended for anyone but me, as Tim Ferriss has remarked of his own journaling habit. Most people abandon their journals out of habit, or never start them because they are afraid or intimidated. They believe that they are bad writers, and that no one will want to read anything they write. One translator refers to Meditations as a self-help book in the most literal sense. And that's what journaling is. It's self-help. So that's the nice thing about journaling. No one has to spend time reading it, not even you. Assistance for yourself from you. 2. Repeat the important things. Reaffirm the most crucial points. The repetitions in Marcus Aurelius's writing are difficult to notice. In fact, it's a typical complaint that meditations are excessively repetitive, but this ignores the fact that repetition is part of the objective. He was reminded himself of the most crucial things, including remembering your mortality and not living each day as if it were your last. Let it influence what you do say and think, since death overshadows you while you're still alive and capable of doing good. He stresses the importance of keeping in mind our responsibility to act in the interests of the greater good and urges us to do so. He asserts that what you were born for is thinking and deed that serve the greater good. He adds that if I have contributed to the common good, then I am entitled to the rewards. He advises that you should continue to study philosophy rather than thinking of it as your teacher, but as a soothing salve. 3. Copy down your favorite quotes. Seneca, a Roman author and philosopher, put it perfectly when he said that instead of using extravagant metaphors and figures of speech or far-fetched or antiquated terms, We should seek out practical teachings and spirited and noble-minded sayings that can be applied immediately in practice. We ought to master them so that words become creative works, since on every page we notice quotations from fascinating things. Marcus Aurelius read, heard, or noticed the playwright from the 5th century Europeans, whom he also references a dozen more times in his Meditations, when he said, "I feel angry at the world." He quotes from both tragedies as well as comedies. He cites Sophocles as well as Epictetus's teachings. He mentions thinkers like Plato, Democritus, Socrates, and Heraclitus. He uses the poets Pindar, Menander, and Empedocles as examples. Ask yourself challenging questions on almost every page of your journal to remind yourself. To ask yourself the tough questions that Marcus mentioned, going directly to the seat of intelligence when you need encouragement. We see Marcus questioning himself about the actions he takes, the decisions he makes, and the course he is on. Why am I here? How should I live every day? How can I make sure that what I do is right? How can I protect myself from the pressures and stresses of everyday life? How should I handle pain and misfortune? And how can I live with the knowledge that someday I will die? Am I afraid of death because then I won't be able to do what I'm doing now? What good is it to be remembered after you're gone if it doesn't damage my reputation? How can it damage me if I made mistakes like this person, or when I couldn't handle this or that? Almost everything we say and do is not necessary. If you can get rid of this, says Marcus, you'll have more time and peace. Every moment ask yourself if this is necessary. Most of what we do is not necessary. It is either built or was imposed upon us. Most of it doesn't work for us. We might be better and happier if we changed. And the first step to change is to ask ourselves the difficult questions in our notebook each day. For review the evening. The best way to get better is to go through each night. Seneca said that you must reflect on your day and your actions. When the light is off and my wife is quiet, I examine my entire day, going over everything I did and said, not hiding anything from myself or skipping anything. Ask yourself as well, did I follow my ideas for the day? Was I prepared enough? What could I have done better? What did I learn today that will help me tomorrow? 2,000 years after Marcus made it a habit, a study by the Harvard Business Review found that participants who journaled at the end of each day performed 25% better than the control group who did not journal. The researchers write, our results reveal reflection to be beneficial for improving performance. Ask yourself as well, did I follow my ideas for the day? Was I prepared enough? What could I have done better? What did I learn today that will help me tomorrow? 2,000 years after Marcus made it a habit, a study by the Harvard Business Review found that participants who journaled at the end of each day performed 25% better than the control group who did not journal. The researchers write, our results reveal reflection to be beneficial for improving performance. Proving the American philosopher John Dewey's assertions, the route to greatness necessitates self-awareness because we do not learn through experience. Rather, we learn from reflecting on experience. Journaling for self-reflection is ideally suited to accomplish that. Marcus understood this and he demonstrated it. So what are you waiting for? Begin writing, and who knows, perhaps by writing exclusively to and for yourself, you're going to accidentally generate a thing that endures and instructs and helps individuals for decades to follow.